Awkward opening. Awkward opening. You have reached the Speed Engine show of interesting things with our guest AOH. How are you, sir?
Howdy, Speam. I'm very honored to be here.
It's a big deal. Okay, we have no viewers. That's fine. I'm going to talk as if this thing was packed. I'm just going to get right into it. You and I talked about Maverick Carter and his guys, aka
No, we
LeBron and his guys.
don't
We,
fucking
well,
lie
we
to the audience. I don't know
we
what's
text
happening.
about each other. We text bullet points to each other. I assume you were doing some kind of thing at some kind of truck rest stop that we can't talk about here. So I wanted to break up that routine. Anywho, I'm going to show the video here in a second. So Maverick Carter and his guys, Clutch, are looking into starting a rival league. Doesn't sound completely different from what the WNBA is doing with its rival league, its 3-on-3 rival league. But this is already being covered as saying LeBron is not involved in these dealings at all. And the reason I wanted to get on this really quickly is because it's one of those things where if you're a serial cheater, right? And someone says, "Oh, hey, how's your day going?" And your immediate response is, "Yo, I never cheated a day in my life." Doesn't that typically sound like a guilty party?
Yeah.
Right. So if this is already being reported by Mr. Winded Horse that LeBron has nothing to do with it, is it safe to say that there's a small chance that he might have something, in fact, to do with it?
But yeah, and I didn't watch it, but I did see some channel talking about LeBron is looking into a rival league.
Okay, that's interesting. That's the first that I had heard of that. I know the big thing for him was trying to own a team in Vegas, and I'd imagine the owners probably don't really jive with that. I'm going to play this clip, but to preface it, one of the things that bothers me is that this is already being set up to be a race game. Uh, the good old boys club has already been brought up. Black ownership has already been brought up. These virtue signals are already being put in place for if and when this goes awry. And that's so bothersome to me because it continues to allow any any sense of resistance or pushback will now be in the light of being race based, and it drives me insane
Can,
because we're already there, and this stuff hasn't even happened yet. Sorry, go ahead.
can I say something before you start the clip?
Yes, please do.
Okay. So you sent me an invitation to the show titled "The Good Old Boys,"
Yeah.
and then you told everyone that we've been talking about Maverick Carter. I don't know who Maverick Carter is even now.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Oh wow. Okay. Okay. Forgive me.
I don't
Uh,
to
he,
the bus like you assume that I know. He sounds like a white man, and
he's
he's
not.
one of the boys. Maverick Carter's
He's
not a white man's name.
no, no, he's
Oh,
not.
okay. Never mind.
He's an associate of LeBron James. I'm pretty sure they played on the same high school basketball team.
Wow, Maverick Carter. Am I way off? Does that sound like a more like a black name than a white man?
It sounds like a Street Fighter character, maybe maybe
Sounds,
Mortal Kombat, something like that.
sounds
It does have a kind of a douchebag connotation to it. I will say that. That being said, if I had a son, there's a chance I might have named him Maverick. So I guess I don't want to be a hypocrite.
all
But
right.
no, black man.
Uh,
He is.
I got to catch up to the times, don't I?
Yeah, he's I don't know. He's goofy looking. I don't know how else to describe him. You'll always see him with a more than athlete hoodie, or I guess he's not too bad compared to Rich Paul. If I'm being fair.
Oh, gee.
Um, yeah. In
I
any case, go ahead. Sorry.
no, no, no.
So the story is already being touted as LeBron has nothing to do with it. So let me present to you the following clip, and I'm gonna do this here real quick. Share screen. I don't need to see these tips again. That's for sure. All right, reaction, share. All right, let me know if you hear this audio on your end, please, sir.
Be a fascinating drama that is going to play out when LeBron is done playing.
Yes.
About what his next chapter will be in global basketball, and whether that's in America or somewhere else.
Stephen A. has
That's
aged.
a really beautiful soliloquy that you threw out there, as Ryan Clark did in the first segment of the show. But Wendy, I said specific things, my brother, and I'm on TV right now with one of the best. You heard what I said in terms of LeBron alienating owners because of a variety of things that he was willing to do throughout his career that they felt a bit put off about, to say the least. What level of credence do you give to the potential of that?
So I'm going to pause it right there. The reason Stephen A. was phrasing that question that way is because I don't want to waste too much time with Brent Windhorst talking in general, but his original response was that it is essentially a good old boys club and they don't want to allow anybody really in terms of ownership. But the question was posed as, would they be willing to let LeBron in? And it's one of those things where I feel like I've used this term like 9 times in the last 2 weeks. It's that straw man fallacy thing where he's generalizing the response to hide the fact that these owners really don't rock with LeBron. And it's not, I'm sure there are some small instances of race, but I'd venture to guess it probably has more to do with the fact that he's engineered the league to work for him for the last 20, I'll say 20 years. But nobody wants to talk about that. So what do you, before we keep going, what are your thoughts?
Well, I think it's interesting that it's being presented that it's some sort of mysterious behind closed doors thing that LeBron might have done to upset owners. Like, did he treat the Cavaliers respectfully? Did he treat Miami respectfully? Is he treating LA respectfully? I mean, this is all out front. I mean, those 3 examples alone would make me as an owner not like him. So why would it? I don't understand why it would. Who's being alerted that LeBron might put off some owners?
Right, like it's new information. But let's keep going. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you say good old boys club. Are all owners white?
No. Well, there's one. Well, there was one. That was
But
Jordan.
that's implied, right?
What's that?
That's what good old boys means, though, right?
Yeah, good old boys refers to typically old white men, such as
That don't,
yourself.
that don't want others to get in on their little fraternity.
Right.
They're good. Okay.
So you're not going to argue with me that you're old?
Nope.
No. Okay. All right. So that I don't want to say excuse because there is credence to it, right? But like you said, there's so many other examples of how number 23 has screwed the league over. Yeah, he's made the league money, but
No, don't call him 3 because
well,
you know who we all really think number 23 is.
well, right. Okay. So number 6. No. Yeah. LeBron.
6.
Whatever. Space Jam. So Space Jam already has these built-in excuses, right? But he also has like this trail of tears behind him of all the stuff that he's ruined. And every time Stephen A says, "Well, LeBron deserves this for what he's done for the game of basketball," what has he done for the actual game of basketball? Yeah,
Yeah.
he's made a bunch of people a bunch more money, but the sport as a whole, on a technical level, is suffering. And that's in large part because of him, but nobody wants to bring that up, especially when it comes to.
Uh-oh.
You still got me?
I lost you, but now I hear you again.
Okay. I'm going to keep going with the clip.
Okay.
I think when it comes to equity of teams, there are no friends. There are no friends. And what you've done in the past only matters a little. And just look at Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan is the greatest thing to ever happen to the NBA. It took him years and 3 different tries. He tried to buy the Bucks. He bought a piece of the Wizards, and that deal fell apart. And he finally got the Hornets, and that deal was a one-off deal where David Stern basically guided him into it. The idea that LeBron or any player is going to be able to get equity, even if they had the greatest relationship with the owners, which LeBron's is a little bit complicated. On balance, he's been worth tens of billions of dollars to the league. But if you think that the league will pay him back by kicking the ball into the fairway and helping him out when it comes to actual equity or controlling share of a team, you don't know how these billionaires operate.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm saying exactly the opposite.
I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah, that's exactly. I get you. That's what I'm saying now, because they won't be inclined to help him at all.
Why?
But I'm just
But I'm
being
saying
direct.
it doesn't even matter whether they like him or not. They just don't.
So you see what Wendy's doing?
How does Wendy know this? Like, does Wendy hang guys?
Maybe he hangs out with all the owners collectively in some kind of fight club or something. I don't know. But that's such a great question. How does he know that? Last I checked, he, outside of the LeBron camp, he's the least informed, quote unquote, expert. But now he knows the insights into how a billionaire thinks or a group of billionaires think. But even that, all of this is exclusive to just LeBron and his camp, according to Wendy.
You know, you touched on it, and I think an entire show could be made on this because I've certainly brought it up. And Stephen A. Smith is one of the culprits who does it. Is this proclaiming of LeBron has done so much for the game? LeBron's an ambassador for the game. But I always say, can you give me a specific example? Because it sounds great, but what has he actually done for the game? If they want to give him credit for doing things for the game, that means that something good has happened during his quote unquote reign. And we all see the crumbling of what seemed like a indestructible sport, not only not doing well, but actually crumbling. That happened under the reign of the guy that they're saying has done great things for the game. And you talked about the money, but I would counter that by saying, if you chose someone else and decided to market that person as someone that people should tune in and watch, and you convince those people, hey, tune in and watch this guy's journey, the league did more for LeBron than LeBron's done for the league. In fact, LeBron, in my opinion, has made it very difficult for the league to continue to convince people that he's someone worth being excited about.
I never thought about that. I mean, I was generalizing by saying he's caused kind of, I mean, you used the word crumble. But yeah, everyone says the skill has gone up, right? But I feel like we beat this to death. The skill hasn't gone up. They've simply allowed more. I don't think it's a coincidence that you now hear, what the hell Scab call him? The commissioner. Something ugly or ghoulish. Commissioner Gargoyle. It sounds like that. Anyways.
Often calls him Voldemort.
Voldemort. Yeah, all accurate. He's talking about, instituting all these new defensive rules to cut scoring down. And it's like, well, that's interesting because LeBron's on his way out. Let's change the rules again to make the game more defensive. And it's just like, and I haven't heard anybody else bring this up, but all you have to do is think critically for a couple minutes and you can start to piece this stuff together. But what do they say? You have nothing to go on, blah, blah, blah. All of these things aren't just coincidences, right? Like it all ties into a larger narrative, and it's unfolding almost exactly like you said it would, like I've said it would, pretty much anybody that we've dealt with, almost to a T. So how can you argue that logically?
You're actually tapping into something really big here, because I didn't know that there was a plan to change the defensive rules, which is crazy because the NBA claims that part of what is great about the game now is the freedom of movement and the higher scoring. And, you've heard people say that defense has been legislated out of the game. But that's supposed to, according to Adam Silver, supposed to have been a good thing that allows us to enjoy the athleticism and skill of these players. Now, of course, the irony of that is that really what we're seeing is that they don't have the great skills, and so you had to make the game easier. But now, in order to, I don't know how he prefaced, how he justified saying he's going to change the defensive rules, but he's basically undoing a mistake while pretending that that's not what's happening. And obviously that's going to help LeBron's story, because all of a sudden it's going to be harder for people to score again. This is crazy.
It's almost like coded language, right? He never used the terminology changing the defense. He simply said there's too much offense, and this is right around when they talked about too many threes being taken. That comments about too many threes being taken, while it's true, it's like a gateway. It's like a gateway commentary to justify making the game more defensive, right? It's like this backdoor into what they really want, but they're disguising it as, well, I mean, they are taking too many threes, but nobody's going to look that deep into it saying, well, if you're taking offense away from the game and players are playing less and less, well, then yeah, the scoring title is never going to change, more than likely.
Oh, no. No.
Oh, I almost forgot this. I'm going to take a page out of your book here. Everyone talks about, yeah, these players or these owners, good old boys club and all that, blah, blah, blah. But like, it's almost like, how dare you have that commentary when these guys aren't playing to begin with? They're barely fulfilling their contracts. They're getting paid to vacation, a la Paul George, as you mentioned, what was that, last week or the week before? So
I'd go so far
ahead.
as to say they are not fulfilling their contracts.
Okay, and I think that's fair to say. So how bad is it? Because I'm guessing that by when did the playoffs start? What is that? February? March?
No, April.
April. Okay. By the time April comes around, okay, if the Lakers are not in the playoffs or on the bubble or wavering, I promise you will start to hear stories about the NBA being like modern day slavery again. Because there's so much contention about this rival league, and there's so much contention about LeBron and owning a team in Vegas and all that stuff. I'm telling you now, you're going to see so many race related topics, and everyone knows I'm the expert at race related topics. It's going to be disgusting, and it's going to be a way to deflect from the fact that the Lakers are still failing and they've sacrificed their legacy to a crazy person.
So I'm still trying to catch up here. Are multiple people looking into another NBA league, a competitor league?
So far, I've only read about Maverick Carter, but I know it's him and a group that he's associated with. That's the only specific name I've seen so far.
Who is Maverick Carter currently an owner or just a rich person?
He's just a rich person.
And he's not white.
No, I can't believe you don't. Yeah, no, he's black. Either that or real tan.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, no. So
is he going to start his own Good Boys Club? Black
whatever the black version of that is, I guess. Another person came out and said that if this league does happen, I'll bet you see Bronny at the forefront of it.
Oh, Christ.
I'll bet you.
And so will they recruit intentionally untalented people so that he can look good in this league?
Hey, you want to recruit me? I'll let them pay me 40, 50 grand a year just to stay in there and be a traffic cone. I don't care.
Yeah.
Oh, dang, there's another really good point. Hold on. I wrote it down. I take notes now. Let me see. What was it? The problem is I take notes in several places. Not super organized just yet.
Hey, you figured out your own channel today. You're on a roll.
It's a big deal, man. All right, I'm just gonna keep playing the video until I remember it.
Okay.
They're not giving anybody anything when it comes to
Well, I
equity
disagree
and
with you on
controlling.
that.
Oh, real quick, Molly Kieran, who I said in Precision Hoops earlier this week, I wouldn't be surprised if she's autistic, and that's no disrespect to anybody with autism. I think I might be on the spectrum on some level. She has no idea how to read people's social cues. If I time this right, just wait until she kind of breaks in with what she has to say.
Okay. Hey,
I disagree with you on that.
What's that?
You have some viewers. I think it's Dart, and then
No
you've
kidding.
got a bronzesexual.
Hey, he said, "What's up, geese?" All right. This Dart doesn't even want to use spell check for me. That's how low rent my channel is. All right. I'm gonna keep going till he finds himself correcting that.
Part. Let's take, and Molly, hold on for a second.
Sure.
Let's take into account the history of Michael Jordan when it became the Charlotte. You know this story, so America will know. Michael Jordan, I'm sorry, not Michael Jordan, Bob Johnson, former owner of BT. All right. He was sitting there competing with Larry Bird and Larry Bird's group to get the franchise. Larry Bird had about 14 different partners, and they said this was the asking price, and he had to come up with it. Bob Johnson rolled up in there by himself and said, last time I checked, this was a business deal. And here is my financial portfolio. And the next thing you know, they were like, cut the check, okay? But it did help that he had somebody like the great Jerry Colangelo, former owner for the Phoenix Suns, there to help him, okay? They had those Illinois roots. They were pretty tight, and that helped them. Michael Jordan ultimately comes in. Why? Because David Stern was there to help him. Who's interested in helping LeBron James from that group of people?
Yeah, I would.
All right. So that's the major question. Back. Oh, my boy Jerron. What up, buddy? That's the question, right? Who wants to help LeBron? So as Windhorse takes this big deep breath, because I'm sure he's tired. Listen to this. Listen to this BS that he spews.
Say two things about that. Number one, in the 25 years I've been involved with the NBA, there has been one team that is sold for less than it was purchased for. One team, and that was the Charlotte Bobcats.
Right.
Bob Johnson actually took a look.
You see, so all right, so that's not relevant at all to what Stephen A is saying, right? Is that fair to say so far?
Yeah.
You're muted. AOH, you're muted, and you're sabotaging my show, bro.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Oh, okay, cool. All right.
Lost on that team.
That's right. Yeah.
Also, the deal that Michael Jordan made to buy that team would have not have been approved for Bob Johnson or you or me or anybody else
Correct.
that wasn't Michael Jordan, because what he put down versus, I won't go into all the details.
Yeah.
They absolutely helped him into that team, and it still
That's my
took
point.
everything. And so if your point is that you're not, LeBron would not get the same courtesy, I believe that's
That is my
true,
point.
but with an asterisk, these teams are not selling for less. That
All right. So right there, that's when I started to feel I shouldn't swear, my blood boil. That's not what Stephen A. Smith was asking you. He's not asking you about every team and whether or not they're going to sell. He's asking you about LeBron specifically. Are they willing to help LeBron specifically? The answer is no. It's an obvious no. And between the two of us, we can list so many reasons as to why. But you see what Windhorse does. He generalizes it to make it seem like it's not just LeBron. Please tell me you caught that.
Well, I caught something else. I felt like I was catching a story that they did a favor for Michael Jordan that they probably won't do for LeBron, and it's going to be another LeBron's everybody wanted me to fail thing. But if business is business, so I don't know if you should ever do someone a favor if you're going to pretend to be a businessman. But if anybody honestly did anything for the league, it's Michael Jordan. Not the lie that LeBron did something for the league. Like, you have a lot of people realizing that LeBron James is going to leave the league worse than he found it. You can't possibly say that about Michael Jordan. Nobody. The worst hater on the planet just sounds like a completely insane person with zero evidence whatsoever if they were to say something like that. And I don't know if you have time for this, but you got to fill me in on Larry Bird. Larry Bird was also trying to be an owner, and it didn't happen, or it did happen.
All that is. I didn't even begin looking into that. Oh, Paris, 24 Raptors, my boy Paris. I thought he was legitimately talking shit. Okay, good. What up, Paris? He's being sarcastic. Yeah, I can make the ESPN video full screen. Hang on. I don't know anything about the Larry Bird thing, but this gets worse.
Came at a time when the NBA was not in a great place. Now, as you're talking about franchises selling for $7 billion, I think that the Celtics are going to touch that when they eventually sell this year. And I do believe that will be about the expansion fee. It not only is it a referendum on maybe where owners feel about LeBron, it's just a referendum on the value of equity in these teams. It wasn't the same.
He is so full of shit. You can see it pouring from his neck. AOH. He can't just leave any question to just LeBron. Do you remember how I feel like I brought this up like maybe like 2 weeks ago? Do you remember how I was saying that anytime they mention LeBron now, they always mention him in the same breath as Steph Curry?
Oh, yeah.
Right. That was not the case, what, 2 seasons ago, 3 seasons ago, right? Certainly wasn't the case in the bubble, correct?
Oh, correct.
Right. But now that his aura is fading, right? Now that the mystique of him is fading, now his greatness by itself isn't enough to prop up his legacy. Now they have to mention Steph Curry's name as well, because anybody that's being honest with themselves knows that Steph Curry is just as responsible for the quote unquote success of the league today compared to LeBron, if not more so.
Speam, when the Lakers lost their third or fourth in a row, and it was the close loss to the Hawks. This is like back in November, and things were looking real bad. I started a video on it, and I haven't finished it because I started getting kind of deep on it. But one of the things that the media did following that game was start pretending that there were trade rumors that Golden State wanted LeBron, and talked about again that Steph likes LeBron and wants to play with LeBron. And it's like, where's this coming from? Why are you talking about this right now? And it's the wag the dog thing. It's, hey, don't think about how bad LeBron has been in all of these losses, or the fact that the Lakers keep losing with him. Think about the fact that he must be good if the Warriors want him. He has to be. Steph Curry wants to play with him. Don't look at reality. Listen to the story we're spinning. That to this day, I'm unaware of any evidence other than rumors spread by Brian Windhorst that there were phone calls made. And guess what? How many fucking phone calls do you think are made daily in the NBA?
Right.
If that's a very, very long way from an actual offer or a proposal or genuine interest. Even if you could find one asshole inside the organization that made the call, which was probably Draymond. Anyway, you get the
They
point.
probably sleep in the same room, him and LeBron. I don't think you needed to call them. They probably have bunk beds. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was turning it back over to you because they've been doing this lumping of Steph with LeBron and these rumors for a long time.
Let me ask you a question because it's your team. That reminds me, did anybody from Golden State actually come out and say they had interest in drafting Bronny before the Lakers?
This is what I'm saying. I'm not aware of any specifics. Just
Okay.
People like Rich Paul and Brian Windhorst claiming that this is reality.
So you have two. This isn't even the direction I was going to go, but I think it's fascinating. Two gigantic instances of supposedly showing the proof of his greatness. One being the Warriors supposedly wanting to trade for him, and the second being the Warriors wanting to take uh, Bronny, but chose not to, just to appease him. Yet when you go to the source, they have nothing to say. And this is actually right around the same time Steve Kerr himself started to appear compromised.
Oh,
Is that
yeah.
fair to say?
Yeah, it would be an interesting research project to see the first time that Steve Kerr showed signs of being compromised. His comments during the Olympics were certainly an alarm,
Mm-hmm.
but there were probably some before that.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I'm gonna make a note about that because I don't think that's a lead anyone's really following. Let's keep going through this though.
All right.
Saying
Hey,
when Jordan bought the Bobcats. That's just
What's up?
can you tell the people, including myself, exactly what it is that has you particularly upset about this topic?
Yeah. So here's what it is. Because for too long, I've seen I get really sensitive about race related stuff. Like I work in that field. I work in quote unquote urban schools. I work in quote unquote impoverished areas, right? And I see real world racism, real world problematic behavior hurt real people and impact their lives. Not to take away from anybody else, right? But it's really hard for me to sit here and let things get immediately relayed to something race related to an already privileged community. And that privileged community being athletes. Not even saying black athletes, white athletes, anything like that. Athletes in general, which make more than the 1% of the 1% on the planet, finding stuff to bitch about. So
Mhm.
that really gets under my skin when I've seen the real impacts of it, right? And now, I'm not going to sit here and say I've never been a victim of racism, but damn it, like I was born in '85. My dad was black, my mom was white. I got looked at funny all the time, and I never played the not that I've never been a victim, but I certainly don't play the victim. And there's sometimes where I live check to check. So if a normal person like myself can do that, how do these billionaires find themselves falling into it? It's just like when they supposedly wrote that racial thing on his house that nobody saw, including the police.
Mhm.
Right? It's
So,
it's always something.
so is this? Are you saying that this is another money grab by an already rich person, and he's gonna play the race card in order to get richer?
So today is January 17th. If this does not come to fruition as Clutch wants it to, I promise you, this is going to turn into they won't allow black men to have their own league. I guarantee you.
Oh,
Watch, just watch, because that's with that camp. That's what it's always. It's always reduced to that, and that's a LeBron thing. That's a Clutch thing. You do not see that from other groups. Oh yeah, shout out to Rookie 305. LeBron's comments on the Kelsey podcast when he was talking about how the team is gonna look different in February compared to how it is now. I assume that's what you're talking about. The dude is a walking just like stick of dynamite up some loser's ass. Everything he does has to be problematic and chaotic, and it's getting so far removed from basketball, which is the sport that I love, and it's so deeply rooted in just this I have, woe is me that seems to be circling the globe right now. That's what sickens me, basically. I know that's a long-winded answer, but that is my answer. While I'm sober, maybe in 20 minutes that might change, but that's my answer.
and when it comes to money, like the guy pulling the strings
Excuse me.
behind the curtain, like the Wizard of Oz, could be black or white.
Mm-hmm.
As long as there's somebody in front of the curtain who is successfully making sure whatever needs to happen happens to make him richer. And if that's pretending that there's a racial issue or that there isn't a racial issue, like racism exists, but it's being manipulated more than I think. Well, I mean, how do I know? I've only been alive X years, but I feel like the humans prioritizing money over actual ethics is at an all-time high, or should we call it an all-time low, which means that it's harder to tell how many people are willing to take advantage of a topic such as racism.
that's almost. I mean, that's several shows in itself. It's a catch-22 because I think it's never been easier to be what people would deem successful now. I don't think it's ever been easier to make a quick buck, right? But what comes with that is there's nobody guarding content in terms of quality. It's so hip hop, for example, right? Uh, I grew up in a time where it was based in lyricism, and I feel like I was in high school when you started to see like the Lil Jons and the Yin Yang Twins and all that stuff, and you started to see music go from lyricism to beats and chants and stuff like that to where we are now, which is just like listening to the theme from the Rugrats or something. It's awful, all of it. But all of these independent people are making probably six figures, maybe seven figures on the low end. Basketball is not that different, and sports in general aren't that different. There's nobody really monitoring the content or the quality of what's being put out. So that's why we are where we are with the NBA. That's where we are with music. That's why most movies now are terrible. It's kind of across the board.
I shit you not, but like, I mean, I've kind of been chased away from basketball courts because every asshole thinks it's his right to come and blast his music. And I swear to God, this new music, every fucking track sounds the same to me. The beat is almost the same, and every vocalist is an auto-tuned mumbler being derogatory. Like there's very little talent in there, and it makes me think that the very first lyricists are just amazing artists compared to the shit that's out now. I mean, and I'm old, I'm white, so for me to say that, it's easy for people to say that it's because I'm old and white, but tell me that that's not true. Tell me that that doesn't describe half of this shit.
You're being generous by saying half. It's probably more like 85% of it.
Is it
85% of me,
being
not even music,
turned
just
out like
content.
a fucking machine?
Yeah, yeah, it's paint by numbers. It's you might as well have AI create it, and no, no, I'm serious. That's why
I,
you can go, go ahead.
no, I'm laughing because I think AI might do better.
AOH, there are so many artificial intelligence versions of hip hop tracks from today's artists that were created by AI. The artists aren't involved at all. And that's including the lyrics, the voice, the production, all of it. It's completely created by AI. And more often than not, that track sounds better than what the artists were putting out. And that's not an exaggeration. So that's where we are. It's Skynet. If you're familiar with Terminator, Skynet has gone live.
Wait a
See,
minute.
I almost forgot. Go ahead. I'm going to get back into this after your next comment. What are we going to say?
So are 24 Rapture and Rookie 305 regulars of yours?
24 Rapture is my boy that I've known him for most of my life. One of my
So
closest friends, like a brother.
he was being sarcastic when he said
Yeah,
Bronny is a quality point guard.
yeah. He's a Kobe guy, like a Kobe through and through
Well,
guy.
see, you can't tell because what LeBron fans say is as ridiculous as a sarcastic joke. I think so. You honestly don't know unless you know that person. You don't know, especially when he adds jealous much, because it's like a shot at us because we dared to criticize someone like Bronny. But then you realize, oh no, it's somebody that realizes what a joke this is. I mean, Braun fans live in an alternate reality, and therefore you understand why I get confused when I read these comments.
The LeBron verse. Yeah, it's funny that you said that because on Precision Hoops, there's been so many times where I'll be talking to Hoops God and I'll say, Hoops God, remember, don't count that man's pockets. Don't count the black man's pockets. And I'm obviously being sarcastic, but so many people read it as me being serious But no, like I'm poking fun at, like you said, the completely different reality that we're in because they're so detached. But that's actually, and this is again a deeper topic, a reflection of our entire society. This microwave, TV dinner, surface level bullshit society. Can I play my video that I came here to do?
Yep.
Is that all right? Is that all right? Gatekeeper.
Jesus.
Bottom.
And I want and I want everybody to understand. I'm not disagreeing with anything that you said. You broke it down very accurately. I'm good with that. The internationalization, the globalization of the sport, the elevation of the team's value, etc. Nobody's taking less. Not these days.
Also, that suit looks like shit on Wendy. I needed to say that.
Especially, and we all knew this was going to happen from the moment Steve Ballmer got the Clippers for $2 billion. Remember that? We all knew that was going to happen. Okay, we all knew that the course that they on now, it was coming. We knew that was coming. The issue for me with this story is that Michael Jordan had assistants. He had somebody in that room who wanted to help him. I can't think of anybody who is going to want to help LeBron James. That's what I'm saying. And that is a story that I think is going to percolate and is going to gain traction and momentum in the weeks and the months to come. That's my only point.
Can I just say one thing really quickly?
I need to prepare you for this
Oh,
because Molly,
we're not going to talk about Steven. It gets worse.
it gets worse. It gets worse. So I'm an animal enthusiast, animal advocate. I've never abused an animal in my entire life. After she got done talking, I have 3 dogs. I wanted to kick all 3 of them. I didn't for the sake of YouTube. I never would. But this is how angry it was. Like punch your dog anger. Just listen to this. As my dog is barking in the background. Oh, I screwed it up. Where was I? I'm folding. Hold
Count
on.
on something that there's.
But I want to push
here we
back
go.
on one thing. Can I just say one thing really quickly? I would not be shocked if we lived in a world where there was a live golf situation when we talk about an international league and all the money that's overseas, especially in the Middle East. But I want to push back on one thing where I don't totally understand. So maybe the audience at home doesn't either. Why would the NBA, why would these owners make it difficult for a Michael Jordan or not want to help a LeBron James to become an owner when they've done so much for the game?
Well, help is a relative.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, I almost anticipated that. The point I was going to make anticipated the stupidity that she was going to say because of this notion that people are owed something. Like they're setting this up that how dare the owners not help LeBron? Like they don't have a fucking choice. And if they don't help him, they're bad guys. Like if I don't want you to be fuck you. I'm sorry. Maybe I sound like a good old boy, but now you're making it sound like it's reminding me of the Joel Embiid MVP. He got a pity MVP, and you got what you wanted. And the season after, everybody kind of admitted, maybe that wasn't the right move, but he got it. And once LeBron's got his ownership, and we don't have to make this about LeBron. Because I am a LeBron hater. I won't hide from that. Some people will say, no, I just criticize. I criticize and I hate LeBron James. But if it was someone else in the league, they're not owed. The owners don't owe anyone. Now, if they appreciate what you did, maybe they feel like, you know what, I'd like to see you be an owner. But to guilt people into helping someone become an owner is manipulative bullshit. Now, I don't know how Michael Jordan became an owner, but because I like what Michael Jordan did for the game, I could see how some people would think that it's kind of cool to see Michael Jordan become an owner. Did Michael Jordan guilt anybody into it?
No.
Do you understand the angle I've got here?
Yes. It's like they're comparing apples to apples. So if they help Michael this much, why aren't they helping LeBron this much? It's just another way to compare the two, or have the two in the same breath. It's
almost like
pathetic.
the Michael thing is the cherry on the top. But after hearing Molly and Shannon's last bit, it almost sounds like, how dare they not help LeBron? How dare anyone have the odd? It's their duty. Now it's their duty to help LeBron become an owner.
So get this, I actually did a little bit of research for this.
Ooh.
Right. There aren't any black majority owners of any NBA teams. Okay, cool. That's terrible. It's well aware, right? Did you know how many actual black minority owners there are? Which is not trying to be funny, but minority owners of an NBA team. There's several. And I'm going to give you some names here. I'm going to leave the hip hop names out because you clearly wouldn't know any of those. But you got Michael Jordan, Usher, Myles Garrett, Grant Hill, Will Smith, Jada Smith, Dwayne Wade, David Robinson, just to name a few, right? All minority owners in a team. Of any of those names, have you ever heard the conversation come up of how come they're only getting X, Y, and Z because of the color of their skin?
No.
None, not one, right? So, to your point, with this deficit mindset, none of these guys are owed anything. None of these guys or ladies are they're owed anything. So LeBron continues to be a victim. Get out of here with that. Anyways, what else were you saying before I keep going? And then I think what I'd like to do is maybe drop the link in the chat just in case anybody wants to join.
Yeah, man. Screw you you just fucked up my Friday. I'm all worked up now.
I mean, you were gonna find out one way or another.
I honestly, I limit this part very much. I don't listen to any of these fucks anymore because every day is a new absurdity. Look, the footage of LeBron James is absurd in itself right now. I have a hard time keeping up with looking at his terrible gameplay, much less the narratives. But
that reminds me. Do you remember a while ago when I said that Ja Morant gets more credit for his almost dunks than his actual gameplay?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm about? Do you know what I'm about to reference?
LeBron's almost triple doubles.
No. So Ja Morant dunked on Wemby, but it was after the whistle. None of it counted. But don't you know, both the NBA and ESPN social media handles couldn't wait to stick their weird dicks in it and put it all over the internet as a highlight. It was everything is unfolding exactly how we speak about it unfolding. How many more times are you going to see? Oh, and there was a highlight about somebody being upset about a Selly celebration. Buddy off OKC did a celebration, and that was a story on NBA. We're getting so far detached from the actual sport, yet all of these quote unquote experts will tell you he's doing all this for the game.
Well, I highlighted in, it was either in my members video this morning or the public video, that the NBA on ESPN headlined that LeBron James scored 7 straight points.
Oh, I didn't catch that. Oh, okay. I didn't see your most recent one yet.
7 straight points is something to tell people about.
I mean,
that's 2 3-pointers and a free throw. Who hasn't done that?
I was he the first 40-year-old to score 7 straight points? I guess
they didn't include that in the title, and I obviously don't have the stomach to watch the actual video, but that was the headline.
Oh, and let me trace back to one thing real quick. You were talking about the Jokic or the Embiid MVP thing. I remember in one of our Sunday panels, Scap was giving Kendrick Perkins credit for coming back around on Jokic. And I think it was both you and I that said, wait a second. He didn't backtrack any of that until the damage was already done, until Joel Embiid got his little mercy MVP, stopping Jokic from getting 3 in a row. So all of that is disguised as like, oh, well, now they're doing the right thing. No, they're not, because idiots today are only going to remember that Joel Embiid has an MVP and Jokic doesn't have 3 in a row when he should be getting his 4th in a row.
If we're going to, we don't have to make it racist. Whatever Kendrick Perkins's motivation was, they prevented Jokic from getting 3 in a row.
Mm-hmm.
You can say whatever you want the next season. I mentioned it earlier in this show. The damage is done. You can say whatever you want after you guilt owners into letting LeBron James be an owner. You can say whatever you want after you guilt the league into giving Embiid an MVP. You got what you wanted.
Exactly. And in the era of just looking at numbers, just looking at data, that's all that's going to matter, right? If and when this league, and then I do want to get back into the video and open this thing up. If this league does come to fruition, another theory I have is because there are several black players that are worried about this European invasion of basketball. Part of me thinks that this league is to rival that, especially with the NBA trying to expand into Europe. What do you think about that? I'm pulling that out of my ass, but the anti-European sentiment across the league, because of people like Gilbert Arenas who just, if you're white, you're European, and vice versa, right? Does this not feel like that could be? Am I crazy for thinking it's related?
Well, let's back up because it'd be nice to get your take on this. I had Scat back on my show a couple of weeks ago, and I asked him, I was like, Gilbert Arenas sounds so angry when he talks about European players. I almost think that there's some racial tension there. Like he hates that the golden age of black players absolutely dominating the NBA could be threatened or could be ending. I mean, Gilbert sounds really mad. He says, get rid of them. Like he literally says, you can get rid of them, send them back. And I said,
do you remember what the reasoning do you remember what he hid behind as the reason?
No.
Defense.
Ugh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, defense.
Right, because
that's what's missing from the game.
Right, because America's NBA players are really shining on defense.
I'm going to generalize here, and then I promise I'm getting back into the video. But how many almost highlights have you seen from NBA players in the last 2 to 3 years compared to, let's say, an almost highlight from Luka Doncic or Jokic or
Luka's from the last years? I'm confused.
My point is you're seeing so many almost highlights from somebody like a Ja Morant, right? Because there's not as much skill involved with today's U.S. players. They're basing their game off athleticism. That's why you're going to see all these high jumps and crazy leaps and all that bullshit. But when it comes to putting the ball in a basket, who do you see more often than not?
You're more racially sensitive than I am.
Only when it comes to stuff like this. That's all.
Because I'm white, the voice here.
I hate victimhood, man. It drives me insane. All right, you're what do the sensitive people say now? You're gaslighting me. I'm just gonna keep going.
Term.
That's right.
As far as nobody's giving anybody a discount on something that's worth $7 billion that multiple people are bidding on.
All right, shut the fuck up. Right there. See, I can't even go 15 seconds into this thing. Nobody was saying anything about getting a discount on a team. Like it's the straw man fallacy all over again. You're taking the argument, you're shifting it to what you want it to be, and then you're defending it. And people are too dumb to pick up on it.
Oh, is it time for me to talk?
Yeah, no, good talk. Great response. Thank you.
Well, I thought you were going to click play again on Windhorse.
Oh, no. Oh, okay. No, I will. I don't want to upset you further.
Seriously, it's a financial issue.
It's just, I'm saying, the NBA can do 1,000 different things to honor and thank LeBron James. Giving equity is just not one of them. By the way, he understands that. He knows he's not going to be able to buy a $7 billion asset for $4 billion. He knows that. He knows he needs partners. But it's going to be fascinating. And as far as the overseas thing, Molly, let me just say this about global basketball.
Okay.
There's a problem in global basketball. The biggest fan base is in China, but they have no players. Okay. The NBA tried for 25 years to get another Yao Ming. It hasn't happened. The best players are in Europe, but there's no money. These soccer teams, the top paid players in Europe make less than what NBA minimum guys make. Okay. There's no money there. The players are there. There's no money there. The money is in the Middle East.
Yeah.
But they don't have players or people. And there's problems, politically and taking that money. So there's a bit of a gap in global basketball that's interesting. And I think LeBron and Maverick and other people see it. And as we watch over the next 10 or 15 years, that's going to be interesting. And literally right now, the NBA is saying, we're going to maybe go to Europe. But as far as the idea that LeBron is going to be given any sort of assistance and any help, I would be surprised if that happened, because these owners guard this equity like it's a family member.
Well,
thoughts?
I just wish everything didn't have to be about money and justified by money. It's like, hey, obviously it makes sense to go to the Middle East because of the money. It makes sense to go to China because of the money. Does it make sense to focus on America's basketball sport and try to make it survive instead of deplete it so that certain people can make more money because there's money to be had elsewhere? How's the NBA possibly going to survive if it gets fractioned off? I mean, obviously LeBron doesn't give a shit about killing it, or is the NBA going to be better because pieces of shit that subscribe to LeBron's type of basketball are going to go to LeBron's overseas league? I don't know. You've got me so worked up now. I'm lost in the confusion of, I don't know. Am I mad at Windhorse? Am I mad at Molly, Stephen A, LeBron, China?
Also, we had the debate of who's better looking, Molly Kieran or Joy Taylor, and I still have to say Molly, just for the sake of debate. I just wanted to reiterate that. It's all grouped together. What's that?
I'd like 85% of their bodies. So who knows? I had the sense that Joy looks a little bit more natural than Molly, and that was probably my primary reason to lean toward her. But I don't think either of them are natural, so I'll just drop it.
Hey, so my only argument is, and I'm not, whatever, I'm done prefacing stuff. When Molly stands up and you can see hair in her entirety, it's a different story compared to just her being behind the desk and being quiet. She's built very nicely compared to Joy Taylor, which is a little more like a Dorito shape, maybe.
A Dorito, really?
Like real thick up top, and then just kind of gets. I got that term from a show called The Franchise, but yeah, real thick up top and just kind of tapers down to real small.
Oh, an upside down Dorito. Well, I guess it depends.
Yeah, so fuck you for telling me what direction I should be holding my Doritos.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't eat.
You always gotta argue with me about something.
I don't eat crap like that, but I guess when I think of triangle, the point is at the top.
Okay, fair enough. I'm gonna open this thing up for calls if I know what I'm doing here. Hold on. I do. There's the link in the chat for all. I don't know how many people are in here.
Let's just talk about race shit with people who call in.
I told you months ago that was going to be the basis of this show. No matter how hard I tried, it always comes back to it. It's not my fault. I also, part of me thinks that the reason this rival league might be coming to fruition is because Bronny isn't having the success in the league. Therefore, they know he's not going to stick it out there. Also, did you see the Lakers waived what's his
Quincy.
face? Quincy?
Yeah. But
I,
isn't that potentially good news? Can't somebody else sign him? Because I felt like he was trapped in that G League contract.
it's good news for him. It's bad news though if you're a Laker because it just further doubles down on they're not about basketball this year.
Well, that's only if you're still a Laker fan who's pretending they are about basketball. They were never going to let Quincy play.
I'd have to think that real Laker fans would be upset at that.
They would never. Everybody knows that Quincy isn't on that bench right now because he would prove nightly that he should be there and not Bronny.
Yeah. Oh, I don't even. I didn't even think about that. I don't know what his playing time is like on the G League, but I.
Hey, everybody wants to shit on Steph Curry for calling Durant. Steph, call Quincy. You already have him on in your shoe deal or whatever it is. Bring him to the Warriors. I mean, the Warriors can't get worse.
I'd like to see you guys finally get rid of Draymond. And the irony is that the Lakers would never take him. LeBron would never have him as a teammate.
Who, Draymond?
Yeah.
No, I mean that's
because he knows better.
I often thought that the true test of their friendship would be shown and revealed because I don't think those two could be around each other for an extended period of time.
Mm-mm. No way. No way.
I mean,
go ahead.
Oh, do you have a caller?
No, if I did, I wouldn't even know. I'm just saying I reposted the link in the chat in case anybody wants to call in.
Call in. We're gonna get racist.
Yeah, this is my Friday night. I got to take my medicine here in a little bit, and yeah, see where we land.
I've been drinking. I'm gonna drop some racial slurs. Like
that's fine. That's fine. You know what I thought about doing since you wear the fro thing? I was like, man, I should get like that wig that like Dave Chappelle wears, when he's like making fun of white people. And I'm gonna wear that every time you and I do a show together.
Okay, wait a minute. Is that honestly what you thought the first time you saw me? Is that what you think I'm trying?
Fuck. No. Because I listened to what you were saying and that didn't even cross my mind.
I'm gonna put you on the spot. What's the first thing you thought?
Oh, I liked everything you had to say the first time I saw you. I can tell you that with a straight face.
But why do you think that I look the way I look?
It seemed, what's the word? Like satire, right? Or like you're poking fun of something, or it's just an identity. I don't immediately associate afros with black people because I'm not, racist.
Well, you have to be careful with your wording there because if you say poking fun of, and somebody assumes that I was poking fun of a traditional black haircut, then they might think I'm making fun of black people. I'm not being.
You could be poking fun of a dirty Q-tip, for all I know.
Oh my God, a dirty Q-tip.
Right, that's safe. They're not a protected group. Last time I checked.
Do people have any fucking idea how many ethnicities have gigantic curly heads of hair?
No, they don't. They don't. They all think Tyler Hero's from Europe.
Has anyone looked at the fucking 70s? Are people mad about Will Ferrell's character in Tropic Thunder? Not Tropic Thunder. Jesus, I'm drunk. What's his?
You're probably talking Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder. Is that it? You have to be, right? Oh, Jackie Moon.
It was called the Tropics.
The Flint Tropics. You're talking about Jackie Moon. I've never heard of a single person being mad at that ever.
Do you think that Will Ferrell was trying to look black?
That's actually a great question. I'd love to see somebody come in and argue on the other side of that.
Well, do you?
No. It was the 70s in Detroit.
Thank you. So why can't I pay tribute to what I think was a better time and better clothing and better music And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? I had a gigantic head of curly hair
Me
when
too.
I wasn't old, before I turned into an old man.
My honest answer is because you're a LeBron hater, that's why there's so much pushback. I promise you, if you were pro LeBron and you had that same afro, that same fake afro, you wouldn't be getting as much heat as you do. You know how many times I've seen on our Sunday panels comments like, these white boys shouldn't be talking about our sport, blah, blah, blah.
Oh,
That's when we've been reduced to that. I saw that when Scap was battling Gil. I saw that in the comments a lot.
well,
And
that's a pro.
I saw that on FYS channel too. And it's just like, what are you talking about? What are you saying? You know what I mean?
Okay, unless you actually go back to the Mayans chopping off people's heads and throwing them into weaved baskets, I think basketball does belong to white people, doesn't it? Originally?
Mr. Dr. Naismith, I believe it does.
Okay, just
Yeah.
so there we
Just
go. This is what I'm saying about the Gilbert Arenases and the Gilbert Arenas fans. They're mad that white people might actually be able to play in a basketball league again instead of like a token. There was a period of time there where you had your token white guy, just like in the movie. You have your token black actor. Now you've got you had your token white guy in the NBA. Now there's more. And some people like Gilbert don't like it.
Well, to be fair, the token white guy in the NBA was pretty much like Jeff Hornacek or Greg Ostertag. Not Tyler Hero.
Yeah, I got to tell you,
go ahead.
Utah does have a suspiciously high number of white or pale players.
You said Utah?
Yeah.
Historically speaking, yeah. Yeah, I mean, Karl Malone might as well be white. Have you heard him talk?
Oh, fuck Karl Malone. He's worse than the people need to understand. I don't like human beings, including white people. So Karl Malone sounding like I'm going to shut my mouth.
Yeah, he's guilty of doing worse stuff than sounding like he sounds.
Yeah,
he's just a despicable human being.
He's a hunter for starters. That's enough for me to not like him.
I didn't even know that. Yeah, I don't do well with hunting either.
The fuck does he need to go hunting for?
I have a joke. I'm not gonna make it though, just in case when I become monetized, I'm gonna leave it out. But maybe he has to hunt for of-age women.
Well, I was gonna go further and say that he's raping underage animals.
Well, I was going to say maybe he needs to go on the hunt for people that aren't his family members. Also, oh wait, no, that's Morgan Freeman, I think.
Well, nobody's taken the bait. I've tried to be as crazy as possible, and no one will call in.
No one will call in, even though with a celebrity like you on here, drunk and vulnerable.
It would probably help promoted the show ahead of time.
You said what?
You got to promote the show ahead of time so people can fit it in. But today you're actually streaming to your own channel, which is a big step. So one step at a time.
That's it. I'm gonna give this thing. Go ahead.
Well, since no one's listening, I'm gonna ask you.
Just us. Go ahead. We're in the confessional.
Yeah. People have to understand that my ex-best friend was also half black, half white. And he loved, similar to you, to talk about racial shit. But why do all mixed races, let's say black, white, always identify as black? None of these dudes have ever walked up to me and said that they're white.
Societally speaking, there's this thing called the one drop rule, right? So if you have any amount of black in you, i.e. one drop, you're immediately seen as black. I would say that I don't, on forums, I'll check that I'm black, but I don't think I identify as one over the other. I grew up I had mostly black friends, but I grew up in an upper middle class, white neighborhood for the most part until I got to high school. No, college.
No,
Shit, I
no,
don't remember. I'm so old.
you can relate
Go ahead.
to. But if you're talking about who you can relate to, but if anybody came on the Sunday panel and asked you if you were white or black, you would say black.
I'd say biracial or mixed. I'd say mixed. I would.
You telling people you always answer I'm biracial?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much. It's not my fault. They just assume I'm, black or Hispanic or handsome or great or well spoken.
You get Hispanic?
Yeah. Fundamentally sound, above average height, stuff like that. People tell that. People say that about me all the time.
Well spoken?
Well spoken. Listen. I don't know if you ever. You ever watch Veep?
What?
Did you ever watch the show Veep on HBO?
Veep. Oh, no, I never did. That's what the
Okay.
girl, right?
I forget her name. But there's a line on there where she's like real tan, and they said something like, if you keep tanning me, if you keep putting this tan on me, they're gonna start to think I'm well spoken, or something like that. And I was just like, man, that's such a funny joke because it's like attacking it on both sides, right? Like this idea that if you're well spoken, it immediately associate with white, and vice versa. And here you are, I'm a white person getting a tan. Everyone's gonna think I'm black, and because I'm black and well spoken, they're gonna think something's wrong about that. So it's like such a great joke. But no, that's I'm like the king of that. I'm the king of the man. You're such a great speaker. You're so well spoken, and it's like this microaggression that I just kind of laugh at now. That's microaggression for any LeBron fans. You can look that up. It's like your passive aggressiveness.
No one's taking the bait.
No, which is fine because I got this one off my chest. I broke my YouTube cherry. It's all good.
Yeah, thanks for fucking up my Friday.
No, I think I made your Friday better. What is it, like 4:30 there? You're fine.
Dude, I've got like an hour before bed.
Oh.
I'm kidding. No, but I legitimately don't listen to these fucking talk shows. I mean, first of all, they unabashedly either don't represent the truth correctly or talk about shit that shouldn't be talked about. It's not. For a while there, I tried to dissect it, and it's not possible to keep up. But it's just not possible to keep up with the bullshit, which is sad because these are the people that are supposed to be clarifying the situation. Instead, they're confusing the situation.
You know what? I think before we go, that gives me a really good idea for a Precision Hoops show. Are there any media outlets that we feel speak impartially about basketball? I mean, sports in general, but certainly basketball. And if not, is it really all just LeBron people and everybody else? Because that's certainly what it seems like. There aren't very many hard stances on any other players.
What was the other statistic that you were supposed to follow up on? We talked about it earlier. Do you remember?
I don't. The last thing I remember you asking me about is how many player-led podcasts there were, and there were 27 when I looked that up.
Yeah, sure.
Do you remember what it was pertaining to?
Nope. I thought you were John. I don't remember a goddamn thing.
Okay. Well, that's good. Oh, someone called in. Great. Look at that. Hello? Hello, time is money. Hello.
Man,
Oh, Paris, what's up, sir?
what's up? What's going on?
I'm well. We're kind of busy. We're trying to do a show here, so
I can see.
let's keep this thing moving, please. Man, I haven't heard your voice in so long. I'm happy to hear your voice, sir.
Why are you shitting all over the caller?
That's the nature of our friendship. Now he's gonna act like he's hurt and he won't speak.
Well, welcome to the show. Can you fucking stop wasting my time? Is basically your interaction with him.
I've heard that.
What are you doing? Is he taking up the time of all the other callers? Is that the problem, Spain?
No, he's the first person I've seen. He better say something because now he's sabotaging it on purpose, and I don't like it.
I know.
What?
And I'm fucking with him. He's fine. Paris, you're breaking up a little bit though.
Oh, I just thought he wasn't well spoken.
Hey, man, there is a delay because I am on my phone.
Oh, okay. You missed a great joke. That's probably going to get AOH in a lot of trouble. But he has our permission. He has our permission. Two other black men on here.
Oh, see, yeah. you do identify as black.
Only when it's convenient. Only when it's convenient. Go ahead, Paris. You're on a bit of a delay, but we'll wait. We got you.
Fucking 5-minute delay.
Hey, listen, he's a huge fan of yours. I think he's the one who put me onto you, as a matter of fact.
I'm the one defending him.
Oh, okay.
I'm defending him from you.
Well, he was laughing at my joke, not your joke. That's just the delay.
I doubt it.
Paris, do you want to mail me your question and then I can answer it?
Speed Engine said something funny.
I say funny stuff all the time.
Journal.
You want to put it in the private chat? Seriously, you can put it in the private chat. We'll answer
it. Do I need to leave? What's happening?
This isn't on me. I don't know. It's good content, though. Real riveting stuff.
Is this a landline from Paris?
No.
That's
no, there's just like a huge and I don't know how to fix it. This is my first time doing this because there's definitely a delay.
We're just not going to talk. You keep going.
Go ahead.
You keep going.
He's probably just not getting your "you keep talking" message.
I know. This isn't going to work.
It's I'm on the other side of the country, isn't it?
See, he's responding to your Paris comment, which was at like 7:30.
I want this to work, but the delay is just crazy.
I know. Paris, here, why don't you try to call back in?
All right, hold on. I'll leave out.
Okay. See, now he heard that just fine.
If he texted you his message and you read it aloud, it would be faster than him speaking.
Shit, if he joins my family plan, goes to T-Mobile and joins my family plan tonight, and
that's the black family plan, right?
Black family plan, because we're all related.
Well, now that you're identifying as black again,
go ahead. Ask me your diversity question.
Me?
Whoever, man. I'm just trying to fill the dead air. Text me your question, please.
Well, I think I'll go.
Got any fun plans this weekend?
What?
Got any fun plans this weekend?
I'm just gonna go document the destruction of the planet by human beings.
That's the other thing that I think kind of drew me to your channel was we are like-minded in the sense that like human beings are terrible, and we've been gifted this whole planet, and in record time we've fucked it up.
The fastest end possible.
What's wild is they talk about eras on the planet, right? So you're talking about like prehistoric times, caveman times, things like that, or excuse me, the LeBron, things of that nature. This era, will have destroyed the planet in the quickest and most efficient fashion of any in the history of Earth.
Well, here's the problem. You're inaccurate, and humans love why you're inaccurate, because they will reference a meteor, a fucking non-living object that hurled through space and hit us, causing an extinction level event to make themselves feel better. I mean, people literally say, a meteor did it. Why can't we? I'm like, because you're supposed to
I've
be
never
the intelligent species.
never
You
heard
actually
that.
patting your fucking selves on the back because something else also fucking ended life on the planet.
I've never heard that before.
Oh, Jesus. Well, that's because you're not in the world that I live in. Fucking people will do anything not to improve.
I grew up on Back to the Future films, stuff like that, and the future that was portrayed back then is a complete 180 to where we are now, and it shows no sign of changing. Certainly within my generation, maybe my kids' generation too, because generationally we're just getting further and further from, in my opinion, where we should be. Technology's never been better. You've never had quicker access to information than ever. Yet as people lack general information more than ever.
Yeah.
It's weird.
I think I referenced Blade Runner 2049 on the last show. If you look at the opening flying scene, that is, honest to fucking God, what the planet's going to be very soon. I mean, that's a really accurate portrayal.
Just on the West Coast, or you're saying all over?
All over. I don't know where. I mean, I can see it happening here already.
Yeah,
so.
you mentioned that on I guess that was Wednesday on the show, I believe.
Well, look, the saying was, move to California and enjoy it, but leave before you become too soft, and then go to New York, but leave before you become too hard. But you know what? Now California is the home of earthquakes, wildfires. We have fucking tornadoes now. We have fucking tornadoes in California now. So, and I see everything is turning into solar panels and livestock, and that's soon you won't be able to sustain life. You won't be able to grow plants or even have livestock. So you're going to just have these weird little grub farms and solar panels like the beginning of Blade Runner 2049.
But that new iPhone's coming out, bro. That new iPhone's coming out. Shouldn't you just be happy with that?
Yes, exactly. And you can send people an image of yourself that is not you and not feel weird about it, because that's the reality we live in. Hey, everybody, I'm healthy and young and good looking, and it's a fucking blob, a diabetic blob that can't walk to the fridge to get food, that is fucking sending out that image.
Listen, if I ever own a basketball team, we're 1,000% being called the diabetic blobs. I don't care where we are. I don't care what city we play for. That it's the Pittsburgh diabetic blobs. The DBs. I will make that jersey tonight. But you've seen? Have you seen Wall-E?
I saw the beginning and I was like, this is too fucking accurate, and I got depressed and turned it off. I was like, nobody. I was thinking, I'm the only one who understands that this is actually mocking all the fat fucks in the audience watching this movie right now.
Do you know how it ends?
No.
Okay. By the time it ends, the human species is so out of shape and overweight that everybody just moves around on hover chairs for everything.
Oh, they weren't even moving at the beginning of the movie. I thought they were just sitting there sucking.
Oh, okay.
Straws.
Yeah.
Paris, but are they still calling themselves predators and carnivores, and like it's not, we have to eat this shit because our ancestors did? Are they still saying that?
Yeah. I mean, I've been vegetarian for 9 years now, so I don't know. That's not in my circle as often, but I've seen a lot of the this is why our teeth are made this way so we can bite through flesh and all that. I can't dispute that because I don't know enough about it. But I
It's
know
not
that
hard, bro.
it's what's that?
It's not hard. Open your fucking mouth and look at your teeth, and then open a horse's mouth. Now open the mouth of a fucking wolf. You're closer to one than the other one by a long shot.
That's a fantastic point. I'm not being sarcastic. That's a really good point, just from a comparison's sake. Paris, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Oh, no delay. Thank you for coming back to our hemisphere.
So the problem is that, and I should have known this, that I should have muted the stream. That's why I was hearing the echo.
Oh,
That delay.
Got you. What's going on, sir?
No, not much. How are you guys doing?
Good. We're good. AOH is drunk. I am waiting to get under the influence.
yeah,
But
you came just in time. We were way off trail.
yeah, we ended up talking about fat people on scooters, which would be an awesome segue to like Zion Williamson or something. But I'm sure you have a question.
Wasted opportunities, Zion. It's a wasted talent. That's a shame. Because he would have been good, a beast, man. But he wasn't disciplined. He said it himself. I love to eat. So,
but it's not like he wouldn't eat if he played for the Knicks. It's not like the food's. I get New Orleans has this amazing food. I've been there twice. Yeah. But you think he's going to stay skinny for playing for the Knicks? No.
Do you remember the photo that they showed where he actually lost the weight though?
Yeah, well, they show that every preseason.
And then somehow he looks different, bigger. Just gains it all back in like a month.
Like I said, if he comes back and it is a quick transformation, quick turnaround time. If he comes back and he plays for the Knicks and balls out, I'm investigating him. I'm investigating his entire camp because we're talking like Ben Simmons level of team sabotaging. Right?
Ben Simmons is such a waste of life, waste of time.
I got to ask you guys a question.
Shoot.
Are you guys saying that these are fake photos or that there's actually a transformation that fast? And because I want you to give you plenty to talk about. If you are in fact saying that these are doctored photos, how could the Pelicans themselves be that unaware of his actual physical status to be fooled by photos?
Paris, go ahead, so I can think on my response for a second.
I don't know. The Pelicans are a whole nother issue. Weren't they trying to get rid of him like last year or something like that? They were trying to trade him or something.
I don't remember that.
Because they're just tired of his shit.
My guess is
he's
that
always injured.
He's always hurt. But if those photos are doctored, I'll bet you it's the team that edits them and puts them out to save face.
What, just to tell the public, hey, we pretending that they were disciplinarians?
Doesn't every other team do that?
I don't know. This. Do you guys hear how absurd our conversation is? What are we talking?
Well, to be fair, this is a lot closer to on brand than the fat people thing. This is I'm
not shitting on the content. I'm shitting on reality. We don't know whether or not a team is faking, whether or not they know that their player is fucking obese or not.
But I agree with you. It's not a wild take.
He was spending all that money on that woman. They knew that.
Well, he should be on top more.
Yep.
Be on top more and burn some calories.
So that whole thing, I forget her name, but
listen,
I don't know her name and I don't want to bring it up, but like for that all to be public, we live in a time where she almost ruined his career, right? We also live in a
He ruined
time
his own
where
career. It's too late for that.
Podcast P, I'm going to bring this up every time I talk about him because it's wild. Has to look his child in the face and say, I almost would rather pay $1 million than have you be here. Like, that's a thing, right? That's a thing that a porn star almost took down what was supposed to be the next coming of the NBA. Like, these are just real things. It's a real thing that James Harden transforms his body in between games, seemingly, and gets away with it because somehow he's still this amazing basketball player, right?
Zion fucked up his career way before that porn star came around.
When do you think he messed up his career officially?
No. What was it? When he what was the last injury that he had? I mean, like the last injury and like the weight issue that he had, like way before he met her or before it became public. No, okay, so do you remember that one playoff? I don't know if it was the playoff game. I can't remember when it was the Lakers versus the Pelicans, and the Pelicans were actually would have won, but Zion ended up getting hurt and he left the game.
Yep.
Late. I think it was late in the fourth quarter or something like that, third quarter.
That's not that same game when he was bullying. What's his place? That plays for the Wizards now, is it? What's that dude that dresses crazy? Used to play for the Lakers, but he plays for DC now.
What do you mean, Russell? Russell Westbrook be dressing crazy.
No. It's his name. His name's not important. But no, I don't remember that game. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay,
Go ahead, Paris. My bad.
We got a delay all over the place now.
Not for me. I came prepared. Paris, can you hear me now, sir?
No, yeah, I hear you.
Oh, okay. AOH, do you still have a delay?
I hear you. I guess I just didn't realize you guys were ignoring me. Sorry.
Okay, no, I think maybe the delay is because you're drinking. But go ahead, Paris. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying that's when because I kind of feel like that's when his popularity was kind of rising a little bit because he was playing better, he was participating, he wasn't really hurt, he was consistent, and then that game happened and he left hurt, and then nothing was the same after that.
Does he get traded this season?
Probably not this season. I don't think anyone would trade for him anyways. Isn't his contract pretty? I wouldn't take his contract if I was any other team.
If he was next to free, why would you take him?
I hate to say it, but his upside is fantastic. I hate to be one of those guys, like the ceiling guys.
Yeah.
But isn't his weight as a basketball player your doom sign that even the Pelicans should have seen before they drafted him? Like, he is shocking. I remember his highlights. He is shocking to see what he does with that body. Shocking.
Mm-hmm.
But you also have to think this can't last.
No, his knees it's like he's jumping in the air, he's landing on his knees at some point with that weight. It's going to come back to haunt him.
I've never seen anything like it. I'm not shitting on his athleticism, but yeah, like as a business, you got to be intelligent.
You don't think they were willing to take that sacrifice because they knew he was going to sell tickets no matter what? They weren't that concerned about winning?
Well, I thought about that. So the follow-up question is, tickets for how long? Like you're okay to just like distract the fans with it's a sideshow instead of actually building your franchise, and it's a sideshow that didn't last very long. I mean, he's been there a while now, but he hasn't been on the court very much.
They drafted him based off of his potential, and he has potential, but it's just not shown because he's big.
Yes, he has potential, but he also has a monstrous potential to be injured because of his.
Just hire a cork. He just hire a professional cork. He should be fine. Professional.
Just hire David Goggins, that crazy guy. that like runs in the hurricanes and the rains and stuff, like with his shirt off. You know what I'm talking about? I have his book. It's pretty good. See, I think if he goes to a contender, all that changes. I think you start to see weight drop. You start to see him play defense more. He's not in it to win it, but if he's put on the spotlight in a major market, I bet you see all that change. That's the only thing I could see that would change with the Knicks is like the Knicks fans aren't putting up with that. Let him go to Philly and not lose that weight. They hate Joel Embiid. They threw batteries at Santa Claus. They hate Donovan McNabb. Philly fans are nuts, right? So let him go to Philly. Trade Podcast P and
wait.
whoever
You know
his
what? Stop
co-host is.
disrespecting him. It's
Whoever
playoff.
his co-host is. Sorry, playoff P.
Okay, stop being disrespectful.
And like 3 of Tyrese Maxey's braids, and then you get Zion, right?
I didn't know he's only 24. Damn,
How
he's
old is
just
he?
wasting it. 24. He's just wasting his fucking life.
That's disgusting. Listen, without sharing too much, at 24 AOH, Paris and I, 24 Rapture, we're quite the party animals, and you know, we didn't live like Zion, but damn it, we had more energy than that.
I mean, he has energy, but it's directed at the wrong. You know what? Forget it.
When did Anthony Davis leave the Pelicans?
2020. 2019, 2020.
What year did they draft Zion?
Or I think right before that.
Right before that.
Or the
same year. I almost wonder if the Pelicans kind of maybe took something on the side in that AD quote unquote transaction, with AD being with Clutch and the Pelicans understanding that their franchise is just going to have to be irrelevant for a couple more seasons. Not unlike what we've seen other franchises do to kind of cater to Clutch. Is that a stretch? Thank you.
Clutch needs to burn.
I'll talk to myself. Is that a stretch, Matthew? Let me see. Is it a stretch? I don't think it's a stretch.
remember when the Pelicans had Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins?
Yeah.
If they would have had DeMarcus Cousins before all those injuries, that team would have been insane. Because DeMarcus Cousins was great before his injuries. But
DeMarcus Cousins.
If they would have had Sacramento King, DeMarcus Cousins, and Anthony Davis paired, oh my goodness, man, that would have been nasty.
A healthy DeMarcus Cousins would probably be the second best center in the league right now, behind Jokic. Wait, hold on. Let me think. Yeah. I see him playing better in today's league than Anthony Davis.
What, DeMarcus?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Who's gonna be able to be physical with him in the paint? There aren't physical centers anymore. AD should be, because every time he's down there, he's dominant.
But you remember what AD said? He doesn't want to play center. He said that himself.
Neither does
he played
Podcast
point
Pete.
guard when he was in high school?
Yeah, well, he had that. Listen, if the worst thing that happened in my life is I grew 10 inches over a year, cry me a river. Oh, so now I have to play center instead of point guard. Come on, unless you're one of them dudes that has like that syndrome where your body grows too big for your heart, I don't want to hear it.
Well, that's why Anthony Davis is so soft, because he's a point guard. He's not a banger. He's not a center. He's not DeMarcus Cousins.
Right. That's what I'm saying. DeMarcus Cousins would kill today.
Like that. And Anthony Davis isn't built like that, and he's not strong enough, and he's hurt. So no, I mean, like, if I was the Lakers, I would ask him not to bang in the paint, because he's not gonna. You're gonna ask him to bang in the paint, and then on the other side he has to play defense, and then go back, bang, score points, bang. No. That's why he always shoots threes and shoots jumpers. He doesn't want to do that. And he said that, and he doesn't want to play the 5. He does not want to. I guess they got Rory for that. More. They got Rory, but Rory's not really. He's not a center either, right? So it's like.
Well, who's their backup center? Because he was the backup. He was recently in trouble for beating his girlfriend. That tall dude with the foot.
You know what's insane? He's still on that team, isn't he?
Yeah, of course.
They got the evidence. They have everything they need to put him away, and he's still playing on that shitty team.
Isn't that weird?
And that's crazy. Like his ass should be in jail.
Isn't that weird? I'll bet you if the Lakers miss the playoffs, they'll arrest him.
They don't even play him. Do they even play him?
Yeah, he was playing the other night.
Let me see the numbers. Let me see. He probably wasn't doing shit.
I mean, he's a physical presence in the paint, but I don't know. He looks dumb.
Yeah, I mean,
he looks like he has a hard time comprehending plays and stuff like that.
He's physical when it comes to his girlfriend. That's the only thing he's physical.
You can't say that. Those are love attacks. He's not beating her. He just loves her too much.
No, I just say he's physical. I didn't say he's, beating her.
What were you referring to? That's dirty business, man. That's dirty work. Spitting at your girlfriend.
He spit at her. Yes, he did. Look at the video, man. He spit at her. Yes. Watch that video again.
I feel like if someone spit at me, like, you have to die. Like, it just goes right to that. I feel like, right? That's a level of disrespect.
She just wanted him to leave the house. That's all. His drunk ass wouldn't leave. I'd have called the police on his tall ass, goofy.
I'm calling 911 immediately. That dude's gigantic.
Why don't he act tough? Why don't he act tough with them NBA players? Acting tough to some 5'5" girl.
Hey, listen, it's not that different from LeBron doing the little too small thing to someone like Patrick Beverly.
Well, he's pointing out the obvious. Yes, Patrick Beverly is smaller than you, LeBron. Like, what the fuck?
When did you tune in? How much of the stuff did you see in reference to this Maverick Carter second league thing?
What your stream or in general?
Mine.
I didn't. I got into it pretty late. When you text me, that's when I jumped in. So
okay. Yeah, so they want to create Maverick Carter and his guys want to create a rival league, and my assumption is that when it falls apart, right? Well, specifically Maverick Carter, but they went out of their way to say LeBron's not involved, which typically means he is involved.
Okay, yeah, he's not. Yeah, of course he's not.
Right?
Gullible. Ain't nobody gullible around here.
It's not even gullible. It's just like they're not even choosing to think on it. So what I'm saying is I'm already seeing the seeds being planted for the race card to be mentioned, in the sense that if the league does not come to fruition, it's because they're trying to hold the black man down. If it does come to fruition, it's because Maverick Carter and LeBron James and those guys did more for the black community than anybody else.
When has LeBron done anything?
Am I reaching on any of that?
Like when has LeBron done anything for the black community that I know of?
Well, he opened that I Promise school.
That everyone's
failing in.
Opening the school. Apparently, I heard he didn't even do much with that. Or he wasn't really like involved. He just, What do you
If I understand it correctly, it's paid for by the taxpayers. His name's attached to it, though.
What he really needs to do is give He lives in LA, right? He represents LA. Why don't he help those wildfire people out? Did he do that?
Well, he can only do that, if they allow him to wear like a Nike fireman suit or the Nike fireman LeBron's. Otherwise, he can't step out there without signing some kind of contract.
Yeah, so I don't. That league is what's the point of it? Like, what's his end game with wanting to do this? Why does he want to do this? Because there is a league, it's the NBA. So what's his issue with the NBA that he has to create another league?
Well, two things. I don't think anybody in the press is going to ask him that directly. even though it's such a great question, right? And secondly, because they're more than likely not the owners are not going to allow him to own a team because
LeBron?
LeBron, right? Because he needs to stay relevant. This is the next progressive step. Which,
go ahead.
Yeah, real quick. Which, if it was a different person, I would applaud it a lot more. But this is coming from the camp of somebody who's been selfish in terms of the game of basketball, but it's hidden behind the guise of being so great for basketball. When AOH and I had discussed that, yeah, he's lined the pockets for himself and a lot of other players, but what's he done for the sport itself other than take a lot of the skill away from it and make that acceptable? So if
he made money for
the sport. What's that?
LeBron made a lot of money for the sport. I thought that's all they cared about was money. So they owe him, right?
Well, that's what everybody says is they owe him. So
you scratch my back, I scratch yours type shit. But
yeah.
But on top of that, but it really doesn't matter. So LeBron, okay, he made a lot of money for the NBA. Okay, well, LeBron, you made a lot of money off of the fucking NBA. So we're even, right? So they don't really owe him shit, honestly, if you think about it.
Well, that's why when this falls apart, that whole camp is going to play victim. And it's going to drive me insane. Right. But and this is why I got frustrated. A lot of this is going to be rooted in racism. Because they're not going to allow the black man to have his own league. When it's no, we don't want that group of douchebag assholes that happen to be black to have their own league. So that's my guess.
I thought LeBron's side piece, Adam Silver, I thought, weren't they trying to make create a team in Las Vegas and LeBron was going to own that?
Yeah. That more than likely isn't going to come to fruition because the NBA right now is more focused on expanding into Europe.
Okay, because I just heard about that Las Vegas rumor, so I guess okay.
Yeah, but again, my guess is they're not going to allow him to own a team. He probably only wants to own a team in Vegas, even though the smart decision would be for him to just buy the Cavs if Dan Gilbert would sell, which I'm sure he wouldn't. But that would be throw as much money as you can to the Cavs. Now you're the hometown hero forever. But he won't do that.
If I was Dan Gilbert after the shit he pulled,
you don't think he tried to go back to the Cavs when they started getting good again second time?
Say again?
You don't think LeBron tried to get back to the Cavs over these last 2-3 seasons?
Yeah, probably. Did you hear, like I said in the comments, how he tried to take credit for the Cavs' current success?
I saw that on the Kelsey podcast. He said he set the trend.
Insane. Set the trend of what?
Shady weird foul calls and shady technicals being called. You know what's interesting also about that series? I don't know if you remember. I feel like it was game 7. One of the last plays of the game was Kyrie had the ball. LeBron cut down the lane and almost dunked it on Draymond. And then he fell and then he acted like his wrist was real hurt. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's why he plays off his little fuck ups
right.
with excuses, after the fact.
My theory, this is a theory, it's a reach. My theory is that Draymond was bought off by then. I think he was perfectly fine getting dunked on for a game winner now that he's been compromised. I'm just throwing that out there. It might be coming from out of nowhere, but that series almost ended with LeBron dunking on Draymond, quote unquote, hurting his wrist, and then having to hit an and one free throw, which is what he's known for missing. That's so weird. It's such a coincidence that would happen that way. Quote unquote, hurting his wrist, and then having to hit an and one free throw, which is what he's known for missing. That's so weird. Harris, I can hear your delay on my end. That would happen that way.
Oh, that's my mistake. Go ahead.
What are your thoughts on that?
I don't look. So LeBron is such a how do you say? He's just a conundrum. I don't know. He's such a.
I did repost the link if anybody else wants to call in before I wrap this up. Conundrum's a good word for it because I've never seen a player brought up so often where when people talk about him, it's so easy to talk about something other than basketball with him specifically. And Skip Bayless said this once, it's always something with him.
Yeah, it's always something with him. And then, like Kwame said, or like everyone been saying, it's always someone else's fault.
Right. And shout out to Kwame Brown again. The only reason I'm semi-famous, at least in my household, is because Kwame Brown kicked me out of his out of one of his chats because I made a homophobic joke towards the All the Smoke podcast, which he misinterpreted. So again, for the public record, that was a misinterpretation.
When did you do that? Better. When did you do that? What stream was that?
That was
what live
oh,
was
you know
he
what?
doing?
That's what Scap and Gilbert were going back and forth. That was on the heels of that, because I feel like Kwame ended up in that chat, and then it just turns into personal attacks being thrown amongst each other. Oh, AOH is back. I guess I'll let him in.
Hey,
hello, sir. Did you get pulled over?
Yeah, that's why I'm off already, because I'm more white than well.
Please finish finish that statement, please.
I can't make the biracial joke. I'm not biracial. God damn it.
Yeah, that's called biracial privilege. But welcome back.
Hey, I wanted to talk about the school really quick.
Okay.
All right, so that was purchased partially by the actual school district and by the LeBron James Foundation. Now, what do you guys think a foundation means? Foundation is a way to accept donations from sponsors, which means that between sponsors and the school district, LeBron didn't spend a dime of his own actual money.
See, I figured there was something in there where he really didn't have nothing to do. He just slapped his name on it or took the credit. And that was it.
Speam, I know you and I have talked about this, that he has his face next to Martin Luther King Jr.'s as a mural inside of that thing.
I don't remember that. I don't remember you saying that. Oh, I thought you were joking.
No, that's fuck. I thought it was a joke when I first saw it.
Get the fuck out. Are you serious? Oh, okay.
I think his face is bigger. I think his face is bigger than Martin Luther King's.
Well, that's the accuracy to the HGH jaw. It's supposed to be bigger. I was fascinated by the fact that there's a room with all his sneakers in it in a school. So the fact that somebody signed off on that is insane. So just think about this, right? Like, this school is supposed to serve the underprivileged, right? Those that need assistance, those that need help. Okay, cool. Then why the fuck do you have a room with sneakers in it that just support further capitalism?
Oh, well, that
materialism. And granted, I'm not a hypocrite. I love sneakers, of course, but I'm also not building a motherfucking school. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I swore when I shouldn't have. Go ahead. My bad.
I was just thinking about how similar the museum is to the school, because there's not that much of LeBron's life to talk about. It's like, oh, well, here's the room he grew up in, and here are his shoes.
that concludes the tour.
Yeah, here are all the people. They need a room showing all the people he fucked on the way.
A bunch of plaques. You know how usually the plaques are like successful people from the school and all that. His is just like all the people he screwed over, and
There
it's
should
like
be
a picture of their
gravestones.
angry faces.
He probably
Oh,
replaced his whole face on the wall and took all the plaques down from everybody else.
right.
Just
It's
put his face
nothing
on.
but names on the walls,
Yeah,
all
it's
over the
just
school. It looks like one of those haunted asylums. You know how they're all these names written in blood and shit all over the walls. That's exactly what the inside of his school would look like. Just a bunch of padded walls and shit written in blood, and a bunch of copies of his $10 million Reebok check that was so important to talk about.
It's a weird thing to like. You know that picture where he is. Jeez. He's trying to look like an intellectual, and he's got the glasses on and all that. And he is standing in front of his sneakers. That's what he's fucking being intellectual about. That's what he's teaching the children about. Like, that's disturbing to me. That's the message that he is sending. You guys want to talk about the black community? I mean, extend it to the white community, extend it to any community. If that's the message that you're sending about what value is as a human being, that's a bad message.
Well, no, that's exactly what I was alluding to.
Anyway, so it doesn't matter.
He's cooked Paris, but his influence isn't. That's the problem. In AOH, that's exactly what I was saying. Every time you see him, you will see I should take my Nike stuff off, I guess. Every time you see him, you will see a Nike check on him because he is bought and paid for. Hold on, let me flip this up. There we go. Okay, because he is bought and paid for, right? I watched some interview with him and these kids, and I was like, I'll be goddamned if these kids don't speak more fluently than he does. And they were like 7 years old. And he was asking them these questions that had nothing to do with anything. And in the background, yeah, there's one of his shoes. And this is in a children's library, mind you. So how the shoe got there, I don't know.
Put it there.
And yeah, he brings them. He brings a case full of his shoes just to place them everywhere. It's like a set.
Product
It's
placement.
just like this moving set. Yeah. He has his own. He carries his own product placement with him everywhere. And I told you this before. In Space Jam 2, there is something like 4 times the amount of product placement and mention of Nike than there is in the original.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, Nike is mentioned more than the word basketball in the movie Space Jam 2.
I think Nike was only mentioned like when Mike was wearing like the actual Space Jams. The what were those?
The 11s.
The 12, the 11s.
The 11s.
Yeah. So, and that was just like
itself wasn't mentioned, but you're right. There was the Space Jams and then the 10s because he wears the 10s on the court, and then like the wood panel comes up and he says he needs new shoes, and that's when it turns into like a 20-minute commercial for him getting those Space Jams. And then
I think they only zoomed in on him when the Monstars grabbed his legs and he stretched to make the shot. And I think that's like the only time they actually zoomed in, like on the shoes, I believe.
They zoom on it then there, and then one of them, I'm such a loser, whatever. And then one of the Monstars says, "Hey, nice shoes," or something like that as soon as he steps on the court.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's compared to in Space Jam: A New Legacy, LeBron falls through the ground, and the shape he makes is a Nike check, which doesn't even make fucking sense.
It didn't.
So, I don't know. It goes back to AOH's thing just about stuff being money driven. You know, LeBron's milked this league for as much as he can. He's going to leave it worse than it was, but it doesn't matter because he's made himself a billionaire. And the response is always going to be, get your money. But, I mean, at the expense of who? Fuck him. Who cares? Get him out of here anyways.
He's done. I mean, like, watch. He's gonna be out of there in a couple years. Watch.
I was listening to a David Stern interview today, actually, and he was talking about the dress code that he implemented. And he said, you know what? I have no regrets about any of this. Like what I did it for what I thought was the best of the league. David Stern stood on everything, and that dude was accused of being racist all the time, and not once did he bite on that. Not once did he fold or have to defend himself. He said, "No, like what I'm doing is for the league, not for you." Versus this goofball who just he's even soft spoken.
They
Right.
walk all over him.
I would assume. Well, he doesn't have the respect of the players as a whole. I would also assume
not by the stars.
What's that?
Not by the stars, especially, and that's where it starts.
Especially
You gotta have respect
right.
from the top before you can get respect from the the bottom.
But we also live in such a sensitive time, racially speaking, right? If he started to put his foot down on these players now, you would go that NBA is modern day slavery conversation will come up so quick.
They call him a slave owner.
What's that?
They call him a slave owner.
Exactly. Right, exactly. Exactly. Because I was listening to a lot of those comparison videos about the NBA compared to modern day slavery, and everybody says, well, the players only have a certain stake, blah blah blah, and it's like, all right, cool, but the players that make the league minimum still make more than anybody I know. So,
slave. I know slaves made 30 mil, 10, 15 million a year, 20 million a year. What slave is it?
The minimum is 1.1.
That's
it's
definitely slave.
1.1.
1.1.
I thought it was
that's slave wages. That's slave.
Well, after taxes, Paris is only like 800 grand. So maybe you should relax.
But
that's even worse.
The comparison to, or an analogy to a parent couldn't be better than David Stern, who tries to quickly get approval from kids by like buying them a toy and giving them a bunch of candy, even though it's bad for the kids. But you have their temporary, oh, thank you, yay, I'm happy at the moment. But is there any respect there? Probably not.
No.
And but then you got to think about the fact that David Stern got an extension. So now you have to look at the owners. Are the owners saying that they can get a money grab right now, but are about to get the fuck out of there? I mean, I wonder how many owners are about to get the F out.
Like a Titanic situation?
Yeah, because isn't the explanation of who would allow David Stern to get an extension go back to the owners? And yet the NBA itself keeps going downhill, but the money at the moment is there. If the NBA is going downhill, you're just enjoying the residuals of the past. The future is not good. So you're basically saying, fuck the future. I'm going to get mine and get the hell out of here.
I wonder if that's why Mark Cuban sold.
Maybe.
Or is selling. Man, that's such a... I never thought about that. They see what's coming. So now they're just like, all right, well, whatever goes. Because I'm out of here anyways.
Well, try to find another way to explain why Adam Silver would get an extension with what's happening to the NBA.
All-time low and viewing. Let's get rewarded.
Well, maybe he dipped out, maybe because he's on the road. But they say ratings are down, but the league has never been healthier. I'm guessing because of like the TV deals and all that stuff. So my guess is that's why. Yeah. But interest is waning. It has been for a long time. I hate to say it, but the league cannot afford to have a dynasty that is anybody they can't afford to have a dynasty that's not basically the Lakers, Knicks, or Golden State. Anybody else? How many people cared that Boston won last year? Not many. And what they did was impressive. Nobody's checking for a Milwaukee championship. Nobody's really checking for OKC, right? The NBA sure as hell is not letting Cleveland win a championship. I feel terrible because I like Donovan Mitchell, but they're never going to allow that to happen unless it's Cleveland and LA in the finals. They'll never allow the Cavs to have another championship because it's going to devalue what LeBron did, and overall, it's not gonna. It doesn't mean it's bad ratings.
They better figure something out because there's a lot of I mean, like, I don't know. Like, I think there's a lot of really great, exciting teams, young talent that just deserves. The problem is that the NBA doesn't market these players. Like, I think that's where the issue is. All they do is talk about LeBron and occasionally KD. All they're talking about are the older players that's on their way out in 2 to 3 years. Instead of, I mean, they do talk. They do talk about Ja for sometimes, but but they need to really get on and start talking about these other players that are talented, 23, 24 years old.
They were so ready to hand the league to Ja until he screwed up. Until he got arrogant, had this sense of hubris where I can do whatever I want because I'm about to be the face of the league.
Shooter. Like, literally, he wanted to be a shooter. Literally.
Right. And now there's highlights of him dunking where it doesn't count, or almost dunking, or almost getting into a fight with somebody. And those are the highlights we see more than him hitting a jump shot or not dunking. Granted, athletically, he's great to watch and all that stuff, but they'll never make him the face of the league. They won't make Luka the face of the league.
No.
It would be great if it was Jimmy Butler. Not based on talent, just based on personality. Like, he has the personality for it. It sucks that
But now he's tripping. Now he's acting goofy. I don't know what his problem is. I don't know what he's bitching about.
My guess.
Now he wants to leave.
I would assume that contract they gave Bam Adebayo is probably pretty intensive. And maybe Jimmy wanted some of that money. Yeah, and they're not going to win anything. Jimmy took a what's the word, a pay cut,
a mediocre. I don't want to say that thing mediocre, but they took a team that didn't belong there to the finals. Who they beat? The Celtics. They beat the Celtics. I think they beat Milwaukee.
Milwaukee, okay. I thought it was Milwaukee. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think it. Yeah, it was definitely Milwaukee. Oh yeah, it was Milwaukee. Yeah. That team wasn't like that Miami team wasn't all that great. So if it wasn't for Jimmy, then
there's no teams in the East that move the needle. Other than the Celtics, and that's because they're so boring. It's interesting.
Celtics, the Cavs, but the Cavs don't really have star power, except but.
Yeah, I don't know. The league is definitely in trouble because Wemby doesn't care. He just wants to play basketball. Jason Tatum, unfortunately, will never be the face of the league. They won't let Luka because he's white/European. Although Dallas on paper is probably the most entertaining team to watch.
Yeah, they're good.
And Golden State, and Steph doesn't care anymore.
You say he phoned it in?
He's a made man. He's going to go down as the greatest shooter of all time. There's nothing that can change that. He's got 4 chips. He's good. He just came out and said that he doesn't see Golden State making any dramatic moves to change that team. And that team, as currently constructed, probably won't get past the first round, if I'm being generous.
No, they're done. Like all the old, like Kevin Durant, LeBron, Steph, they're done. Jimmy, they're not. They're done. All their teams suck. So all the older players, the ones that are in their mid-30s and stuff, they can still play, but their teams are just trash.
I think of all the players you mentioned, if I'm Steph, if the Warriors don't make the playoffs this year, I'm considering retiring. There's no sense in dragging this out. Yeah, right. I mean, who's gonna touch his shooting record?
No one.
Nobody, right? He's got 4 chips. He's already named in the conversation with LeBron in terms of face of the league, greatest player during this generation, and he wasn't even asking for that. You know, he has endorsements. He has his own sneaker.
And where he came from, he like Steph definitely. I don't want to. I guess I can say this. He overachieved.
Oh, big time.
Because
wait, hold on. Look, did he overachieve? Because he had those bad ankle injuries, and that set him back for sure. But based on pure talent, I feel like he got exactly what he deserved. Overachieved is strong.
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's because of there wasn't much talk about him coming out of Davidson, and and also with the ankle injuries and stuff. You know, because I thought I was like, damn, there's a lot of ankle injuries, but he turned out he's pretty much considered the best shooter. 4 rings. No one's going to break
4
his
rings
record.
and how many tries too? What? 7 trips or 8? Wait.
He's positive. He's over 500 with that. So, because he only lost the finals, they lost against the Raptors. They lost against the Cavs. So I think only lost twice.
Well, they lost to the Raptors too, didn't they? Yeah, they did.
Yes. Yeah, the Raptors and the Cavs.
Okay, so 2015, 2016. Wow, this is wild. What? Listen to this. 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, and 2022. And why isn't Steph mentioned in the same breath as LeBron? I don't know. In terms of how many times he's been to the finals?
I thought he fucking won. Shit, I thought he achieved more. He achieved more than LeBron in terms of the team aspect. I get it. He had Kevin, but that's not what. Well, go ahead.
Well, I think the argument could be made that he's achieved more if you look at it from the perspective of applying actual the sport of basketball and skill,
or team ball, if anything,
or team ball.
But to be fair, I mean, like,
go ahead.
I guess you can't count that, but it's like the first final that they were in, Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving both were hurt game 1.
Were out. Correct.
So and the Cavs still took them 6 games. Was it? I think it was 6, right? I think they lost 4. No,
it wasn't 7.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't 7. Not with Matthew Dellavedova.
But can I tell you why that balances out?
Why?
Matthew Dellavedova. The reason that balances out is because both those guys were out, but LeBron still has the refs in the entire league on his side. So that's almost a wash. Oh no, that's my point, because I know you and I have had this argument in the past that Kevin Love and Kyrie were out.
And the next year when they got them both back, they beat them. I mean, It did take 7 games, but I think LeBron with a healthy Kyrie and Kevin would have beat that young Golden State team, no doubt in my mind. So I bet that, dog. I don't think they would have. But then LeBron is kind of a choker, so I don't know.
He is. Well, I mean, the way I look at it is he was at his height, other than 2016 in Miami. He was at his height when they were playing OKC in the finals, right? And
that was another young team, but they should, But
they screwed OKC so bad in that series, and that was a young Westbrook and a young Durant, like young. So
James Harden, young James,
right? If you apply the asterisk rule, I mean, maybe 2 of his championships are not legitimate, but I would say admirable, because I do not count the bubble. I don't care what anybody says.
No, I don't.
And I
That's
almost
trash.
don't count 2016, just based on how shady everything was. Listen, I know only like 13 people are going to watch this, but I'll bet you I'm going to refer back to it when all this comes to light. All this stuff is going to come to light when he retires and he's no longer profitable to the league. Period.
Yeah, a lot of people are
Probably
saying
starting with the steroid claims.
No, listen, Matt, listen. He had nothing to do with the steroids. Everyone else around him, including his wife,
Go ahead.
except for him. Okay?
Oh, you're right. My bad. Just him. He's the only one who doesn't
do with that. His wife did. Like his wife had something to do with it, but somehow LeBron didn't know shit about that. Okay?
The dude
let
who
it
would benefit mostly from this has nothing to do with it.
Yes, exactly.
Also, the man who won't even refute it publicly, yet had nothing to do with it. So it's so weird.
The same man that won't sue what's his name?
That fighter.
Sonnen or something. Ain't that his name?
Yeah, Sonnen. Yeah.
Yeah, like listen, if you were worth $1 billion and someone came out and tried to drag your character through the mud and say some wild stuff, wouldn't the first thing you would do is be on your phone with your lawyer, telling him to cease and desist, or taking him to court? I would.
I thought that's how that worked. I thought you get them to stop talking about it.
You just don't ignore people disrespecting you in that manner without taking them to court. Yeah. But for some reason, LeBron just ignored it. Why would you ignore it? Unless if you took it to court, you would get exposed.
Well, it's the same reason
you don't ignore
he
shit
took
like
down
that.
He took down that there's no party like a day party thing, right?
Or he hasn't said shit about that. Why don't no one ask him about that at his little locker room interviews after he loses by fucking 25? Why don't you ask him about that?
Why don't they ever ask him, why is it that you don't do press conferences after you lose?
Oh, he does. He did a press conference when they lost by 25. When they lost to what was the last team I can't remember the last squad that they lost to.
Dang.
I can't remember.
Dallas with no Luka or Kyrie.
Yeah, he did it. Yeah, what so sad, pathetic. Huh?
Well, I vaguely remember that.
Yeah, they lost to Dallas without Kyrie and Luka.
No, I remember them losing, but I don't remember him doing a post game.
No, he did. He did it. He did his lackluster, short answer, prototypical answers.
The disinterested while I brush my bald head.
Exactly. And, do-rag. I'm like, what's the do-rag for? Like your hair doesn't grow at all. It just stays the same length. Why do you have a do-rag on?
Just come home. Not like Charles said.
Like you're thinning. Like he has all that money. Why don't he just get a hair transplant? I don't get it.
I think he did. Listen, I'm saying this, I'm joking, but I'm not. I think he's done so many that his body has just adapted to the process and it just doesn't take anymore.
Hey, that's crazy if that's the case.
I don't know the science behind it. I don't know shit about it, obviously, because I don't have any hair, but that's my guess. Because
do it, but LeBron can't. I call bullshit on that.
Oh, that makes perfect sense to me. He's pretty connected, if you think about it. He probably has LeBron's guy, as a matter of fact. He probably has a stake in this new league. I'll bet you. Ask him next time we talk to him. What's your percentage in the rival league? Why don't you have a Caitlin Clark jersey? Ask him the hard questions.
Clyde's in that Ice Cube one.
He's in the three. Listen. If Ice Cube could get the 3v3 league off the ground fairly easily, like he did, there's no excuse for there not to be a legitimate rival league to the NBA that doesn't have to be focused around LeBron and his camp.
In that dog shit. Nobody would participate in that.
No way. Steven Jackson's in it. He's a man.
Well, no, I was talking about LeBron's potential league or Maverick Carter.
Fuck no. It'll be him and Bronny and maybe Savannah and
People are going
Brian Windhorst.
It's just gonna be his daughter, and she's like
right.
6.
Right. We're in the halftime show is gonna be old LeBron highlights just on the big screen. Every team is gonna be.
No, it's gonna be Space Jam 2 highlights. That's what it's gonna be.
It's gonna be Space Jam 2 outtakes, which is like the whole movie basically. They're like, when are we? You're just showing us the movie. When are you gonna show us the outtakes? Well, that's what we've been doing.
It's gonna be Space Jam 2 to cut content.
Right. The Snyder cut. Space Jam 2, the LeBron cut. It's just all discombobulated. That the words are all wrong.
This is what we didn't put in the movie. They start showing all dumb shit.
It's just him dunking on dude from Trainwreck, you know?
They just see him behind a green screen doing stupid ass shit.
It's just gonna be him yelling at his kids for 45 minutes about how they don't work hard enough.
Yelling at the director. That's not what I have.
That's not what I have written here. That's not what I have written here. Yeah, but LeBron, you got to look past the first page.
I'm just asking you, what are you doing?
I got a question for you. Can I just do your job for you? Huh? Like Danny DeVito. Right. When I say cut, we cut, right? You know, directors' families being held hostage in the LeBron I Promise school in the basement, you know?
Yeah. Brought his daughter to work day just to get yelled at by LeBron. Like, my daughter's here, LeBron. Like, you can't talk to me like that, man.
Listen, I think we need to, because Ohio's not that far. I think we need to make it a point to get like GoPros or something and go undercover to his I Promise school and try to enroll like our nieces or nephews or something and see what they say.
They got 18-year-old graduates pretending to be like in high school. Graduated. Pretending to be students. Yeah, right. Pretending to be students and shit like American Pie when they were like 24, pretending to be like 17 and shit.
Nah, it's worse than that. It's gonna be like Norris Cole in a wig and Mario Chalmers in a wig and Matthew Dellavedova in a wig. And they're like, yeah, we go here too. Like, you guys are like 7 feet tall. What are you doing here? But, you know, doesn't matter if it's strive for greatness, right?
Yeah. Yep, it's just going to be Space Jam outtakes and I Promise commercials with adults pretending to be students.
And then commercials about China and why it's great.
Oh, yeah.
Or how his shoes are made. Or why he wears non-prescription glasses. Or a sport jacket with shorts. Why did he storm out of a press conference? Because he got asked a difficult question.
With his man bag.
Why did he pick up his man bag like that? It's one thing to have one. It's one thing to have one. I don't care about that. But picking it up in that effeminate manner and then storming off while your socks are floated that high.
What's in it? It's fucking like what's in that? Is makeup? Like what's in that?
Well, yeah. What's in that? What's in that he can't just put in his pockets? Now, granted, this is where the stream has gone, but what's in there? Besides maybe evidence against it's a steroid inhaler, you know, because he's very forward in terms of medical advancements. So he has like the Bane serum. He just inhales it.
My doctor said I was the fastest healer ever. Remember?
That was about his foot, right?
Yeah, the doctor said I was the fastest ever to heal.
He said I had never seen somebody heal so fast. And I'm like, you know, God, he didn't say that.
Man, nobody
says that. Because if that was the case, don't you think it would be in some medical journal somewhere? Right? Don't you think there would be like studies on him? Oh, here's this man that has superhuman healing. He's Wolverine. Let's just let him play basketball and not look into it at all.
Yeah, you do. Well, he probably does heal faster when he starts shooting his ass up with shit. Getting Maverick Carter to shoot up his booty. His butt cheek.
That's exactly how rumors start.
Yep, even though he can go in his arm, he wants him to shoot it in his butt cheek.
But you're a brown, I could just put this in your arm. Yeah, no, I know.
He's like, you could. And he just pulled out his pants looking at him.
You could, or unbuckles his belt. You can do what I told you to do.
Yeah, you could. Or he just starts slipping down his all flowing.
You could, or you could be fired.
Or I can replace you at the drop of a hat.
Right. Or I can get one of your clones, get them up here, and then you're out. You're going right to the I Promise school to be a substitute teacher.
You're gonna be a student in the commercials.
Right. Yep. You're gonna be one of them. We're gonna shave your beard off. We're gonna put a wig on you because everyone gets a wig, and then you're gonna be part of the I Promise marketing campaign. All right. We've deterred of course, and I'm sleepy, and there are terrorists that need killed in the calls of duty. Also, shout out to my Street Fighter 6 guys, bro. I'm like 10 wins away from Diamond.
Are you still on Street Fighter?
Absolutely. I'm trying to work my way up to Master with Akuma. I'm Platinum 3 now.
Oh, you stuck with Akuma?
I did. It was Akuma and Ken, but that girl from Samurai Showdown is the next DLC character.
My,
yeah, and Capcom sexualized her so much that it's like I get uncomfortable even watching it sometimes. Or more like uncomfortable with how comfortable I am.
But she's always like that.
See, okay, so maybe I didn't know that, but I made her moveset looks pretty great, and then I may try to get Master with Ed or M Bison.
You stopped playing Luke? Because you were playing Luke. You stopped playing Luke?
I don't think I was playing Luke very often.
Oh.
Because Ken was my main, and then I feel like it was Ken, and then Ed, then Bison, then Akuma. Because Akuma, when he first came out, he's like his moveset, like it's a lot more slow. It's like really slow and intentional. Like with his moves, like everything has to be timed right. Versus like a Ken or another Fireball person, where it's like you can just kind of spam stuff. You can't spam stuff with Akuma.
No, I mean his Fireball.
Yeah, but once you start to get in the upper echelon of players, they don't
They don't play that.
They do not play that. They do not. Like I can't even get emotional about it anymore. I'll get beat so quickly.
How's your drive rush? I bet they drive rush like crazy.
Good. I don't know all the little juggle combos that you drive rush into to keep going. I don't know those, but like my strength is in my defense. Because a lot of players try to guess what you're gonna do. And I do like a lot of switching expectations, doing like those safe neutral jumps that gets them to do, the uppercuts and all that stuff, which opens them up to further attacks. And I'm also really big on maintaining my drive rush and letting them burn out. Because one thing I learned is that burnout is real. Like it's not just like some gimmick. It will change the entire course of a fight so quickly.
Well, especially when you can chip them out and you can knock them up against the wall, dizzy them.
Right. And that's the experts. Those guys that once they get you up against the wall, they chip you, and then they know how to do like those. I guess they call them like meaty hits, which are the hits that once you start them, as you're getting up, as you're waking up, those hits still hit, so you don't have a chance to recover at all. So once you're in the corner, it's kind of a wrap.
Mm-hmm.
Well, powerful response. Thank you. we are gonna end this thing. I'm tired. Are you playing tonight? Because I know Drew and Amanda are as well. Call of Duty.
What? I don't. No, I don't have COD anymore.
Oh, that was fast.
Yeah, I had it for like a couple months, but
Not even on Game Pass?
I can't get it to play on Game Pass on my PC for some reason.
That's right. You were saying that. That's right. Okay. All right.
Weird.
Well,
I don't know
just,
what the fuck's wrong with it.
it's a sign. All right. Let's end this thing. Glad to hear you're alive. Didn't know if that was the case anymore. I know you like to just get drunk and run into people's homes and steal stuff, and that's living life on the edge. So, hello, are you still there? Oh, you don't want to incriminate yourself. All right. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. I don't have the numbers yet, but I'll let you know if it gets in the double digits. And we'll see y'all a little bit later. Excuse me.
You had a few people there in the beginning.
Yeah, awkward goodbye.